week. I hope so, because that'll bring another one of our tough guys back into the game. Number 5 is Kewan Hay. He's our starting linebacker that's been out since the first game. And so when you start to look at those single digits, you're like, well, maybe that's not a big deal, but all of those guys are a big part of this team, and we've been playing without them. Now, here's the good news. Every one of those guys are going to play this season. We didn't lose anybody to, a season-ending injury. We're going to get them all back, and I just think you're going to see that catalyst, that juice start flowing. I hope it's this week, but we're going to become a really dangerous football team very soon.
The late Frank Boyles once told me there were times I felt like I was running an infirmary. That's probably you probably felt like that with some of these kids this past few weeks.
Some folks have been around long enough to know what we mean by a MASH unit. Sometimes it looks like a MASH unit out there, but we're getting them back slowly but surely, and they're starting to practice more, and all of a sudden I become a lot better coach when I got those guys getting healthy.
How big is this bye week for you? I mean, being in the 4th week of the football season, you're obviously, I think it was well positioned based on the first 3 games that we had, but what does it mean to you as a coach? coming back with the Rolling Stones. It is KYFM, broadcasting live from Hideaway Pizza, also on the OwassoSportsNetwork.com, the Owasso Ram Showcase with head coach Bill Blankenship. I'm Grant Merrill, and it's a pleasure to have you along with us. As we mentioned earlier, a lot of word getting around on Twitter and on social media this afternoon that the prospect of severe weather has changed some of the games around, but Owasso is not one of them. I know Broken Arrow and Jinx playing tomorrow night, but Union and Owasso still set for 7 o'clock Friday night. You'll hear that game with myself, Steve Mowry, and Christian Pavadora right here on KYFM 100.1, and you can watch it online at OwassoSportsNetwork.com. And taking a look ahead to Union, Coach, obviously rematch of that rather significant game you guys played at the end of the season last year.
You know, it's really interesting. Coach Fred had made a statement to one of the other riders today. You know, I would like to think that certainly we believe the two best teams in 6A last year were playing in the finals, and we're both 1 and 2 right now. And one of us is going to be 1 and 3 going into the rest of the season. And so I think it's really unique. But I can tell you, I know Coach Fred very well. I know that program. I don't think there's any panic over there, and there's no panic in our office. I really think there's going to be a really, really good football team that's going to be 1 and 3 and then make a run through district play to get in the playoffs and be very, very dangerous. And so I'm hoping that we're going to be 2 and 2, but I'll take it any way we go as long as we're an improving football team. We have a little mantra about the playoffs. You got to get in, you got to get hot, and then you try to win your last game.
You know, last year I watched that game live, not having any idea that I'd be calling you 365 days, but, you know, the big overtime game in the regular season, I mean, that really came down to the wire between the two of you, both of you guys undefeated, and, you know, now you come in with that same record. It may have the potential to do that again.
You know, I just don't think you can underestimate, you know, what could happen. I hope that the game, you know, I said this last year about our players, and I'm going to say it again. I just hope it's not too big. The moment's not too big for them, because if we'll play, I think we can play very well in this situation. I think it's an incredible matchup. I think certainly tradition favors the Redskins. I think certainly their experience and all that kind of stuff. But golly, I love the fact that our guys felt so good about how we played a year ago at the regular season game. And I've had people tell me that's one of the finest games they got to just enjoy as a fan in a long time. I wish we'd had a little different ending, but I love the way that we went toe-to-toe with those guys.
You know, you say tradition favors the Redskins. You are kind of responsible for that.
Well, you know, I would say this. Coach Fred, with his leadership, has won a whole bunch of games since then, too. So, you know, if you'll go back 10 or 12 years, maybe I can have a little piece of it, but, you know, I'm thrilled to be an Owasso Ram now.
Well, I don't think it's any secret that Union's probably still a special place to you, and you had a lot of good years there. And,
no question.
You know,
great people over there.
I'm sure people ask you all the time, is it ever kind of weird going back on that sideline and knowing, you know, you're going back to where you built a career?
You know, it's interesting, but it doesn't... It doesn't get really weird because I think we've been gone so long. It helps that, you know, it's been 12 years now. It was, you know, 2005 was my last season at Union. And so I think it's different if it had just been 2 years ago or 3 years ago. You know, we get to go into the visitors' locker room, which used to be our varsity locker room way back when. And it's funny, we'll go back in the you know, dark closets and all that stuff back there and find things on the wall that we had written and just find notes and all those kind of things from way back in the day. So that is a fun reminiscing. But, you know, once that game starts, it just feels like one of the, you know, many that we've had over the years.
You know, you guys are getting back together, and, you know, last time it was the state championship. You're totally two different teams now. You both graduated a lot of seniors. You both sent a lot of kids to D1 sports. And so, you know, when you take a look at that, what all has Union lost, in your opinion, from that team last year?
Well, thankfully, they gave up some big-time players. You know, the big receiver that went to Oklahoma State,
right?
CJ. You've got the safety that's at Oklahoma. You've got big D lineman that left that's playing. You've got two outstanding linebackers that were really, really good football players. They just have guys all over that were outstanding football players that left, but they have good ones back, much like we do. Defensively, we have 5, 6, 7 starters back, but we gave up, a safety to Ohio State and a safety to Kansas State and a defensive end to Arkansas. Well, those are hard to replace, but that doesn't mean those other guys weren't really good too. And so that's kind of where we both are. We're kind of in that retooling mode, and we're going to both have players that are going to wind up being really good D1 players at some point, but they're still in the growing times.
You take a look at Union and what they've done coming into these games. I mean, they had a Texas opponent, I believe, in Mansfield. Played a pretty good schedule coming into this, and both of you have a common loss to Broken Arrow.
Broken Arrow, Jinx, and then Mansfield, Lake Ridge High School. So they've had a gauntlet themselves to run through. And we'd like to think that it compares a little bit with taking one of the best teams out of Arkansas in Fayetteville. I think they're still undefeated. If I check the records the other day, so they're still playing well. You take them and Bentonville West and Broken Arrow. That's 3 pretty tough ones for us to start with.
Pretty big motor as well, as they say.
Yeah. I'm a big believer in you schedule tough early, and that builds you. It helps you to build for being the kind of team you want to be later on in the playoffs.
Who are you circling on the Union roster right now as kids we've got to watch out for?
Well, I think their running back, Darius Boone, is outstanding. I think the quarterback plays really, really well. I think he's a playmaker. They've been looking a little bit like us in the sense of trying to identify those new receivers. They lost all of their receivers and tight ends from last year, but they've got guys coming. Well, Pearson kid's a really good player. Then defensively, they've got a really good corner, one of their returners from last year, and they've got maybe the fastest kid in the state at the other corner. I mean, he's a great track athlete. They've got 3 big defensive linemen, so they got my attention, I promise you.
You're as familiar with the Union experience as anyone in America, obviously, but it is a big atmosphere, and it is definitely a loud atmosphere and a place to a big place to play. I know that when you take your kids there, what do you tell them, or what do you prepare them for?
Well, thankfully, and I say this, there's 2 sides to that coin that you asked me about. One, the athletic director, Emily Barkley, and Steve Dunlap, her assistant, are just amazing. They put on a game day atmosphere like none other than one other place, I think, and that's at Owasso. And I'm saying that, but I think there's a mutual respect with Zach Duffield, our athletic director, and Emily, and that over the years, they've really learned from each other. And so I honestly can tell you that I don't think our kids are going to be overwhelmed playing at Union, because the atmosphere we now have at Owasso, I mean, with the big video board, with the music, with the bands, with the game day entrance, all that is so big time that I don't think they just get intimidated when they go someplace else that does it really, really well. 15 years ago, we used to call it the Union Way, and that's what they still do. They have an outstanding concept of how to run a day, and guess what? I believe the Owasso Way can match it, or maybe, we like to think we can exceed it, but certainly matches it, place to place in terms of the excitement, intensity, and just the game day atmosphere is just second to none.
We've got some nice facilities, but they're trying to give us a run for our money over there. They're building the new additions to their stadium. I know that's kind of got to be an interesting change for you to watch.
Well, it will be, and I can't wait to see it. I remember when we opened up the UMAC facility, that was the first real end zone, arena And people were like, yeah, and I said, hey, just watch. Because what will happen is, I know these communities. These communities are competitive.
Right.
And they started, catching up. Next thing you know, Jinx has one. They've got an end zone that's second to none. Then Broken Arrow's got their little flavor of it. And then Owasso set back, and now I would put ours up against anybody's.
Right.
I think it's outstanding. But that all came about because somebody raised the bar. Well, Union's going to raise the bar again, and it'll be interesting to see how the communities respond in this area.
All right, well, it is definitely a big game coming up this Friday night. We want to encourage everybody to be there. A couple more questions in the last couple minutes with Coach Blankenship. Tell me a little bit about, Friday night and some of our starters, who's in, who's out, who we will see playing.
Well, I think you're going to see Hilton Mosby. I think you'll get him back in. We think Hayden Grant's going to be back at defensive end. Both of those guys were missing the last 2 weeks. I think that you'll see Peyton Lusk, who he hadn't missed a game, but he got banged up a little bit during the Broken Arrow game. He's missed a bunch of practice. He'll be back. I think, generally speaking, you're starting to see the guys work their way back into it. I think we're still a week away from Isaiah Jacobs and Kewan Hay.
Well, keys to victory in beating Union on Friday night, if you were to narrow it down to a few things, what are they going to be?
I think the biggest thing for us is really for Owasso to take care of Owasso. I mean, we have to go in and actually execute our game plan on offense and defense. They're going to make some plays, but we've got to do a good enough job of executing that we can make a few plays ourselves. And if we don't get caught up in beating ourselves, by making foolish mistakes or busted assignments, I think we can go toe-to-toe, and we'll let the chips fall.
All right. Well, obviously it is going to be a big, big night on Friday night. We can't win easily without a big 12th man there in the stadium.
Absolutely.
I know that we want everybody who can in Owasso to try to make that trip because it certainly makes a difference.
Well, it certainly made a difference in the state championship game. I thought we had the loudest, biggest crowd, and there's no reason that we can't be over at Union doing the same thing.
Absolutely. Well, we certainly were last year. We need to repeat that. I mean, I watched that game, and Owasso really made a difference. Well, Coach, anything else we've missed? I know that had a good turnout for breakfast with Coach B.
Yeah, continuing to be able to do that, and that's been a lot of fun, getting a great turnout down at over at Trails End for the breakfast with Coach B. And, we're going to continue doing those things to try to build our program and just to continue to get the excitement going.
All right. Well, Coach, thank you so much for coming over here and being here. We'll
appreciate Brock taking care of on the streaming. I mean, that's all good stuff, man.
It's like being on ESPN over here.
Absolutely.
Right. Brock's here. That's what happens. Well, again, we've got a big night coming up on Friday night. If you can't make the game, we would urge you to listen right here on 100.1 KYFM. You could watch it. Brock and the folks will be running a great camera show on OwassoSportsNetwork.com, and we would encourage you to listen in at 6:45. We'll have our pregame show and our updates with Coach Blankenship and everything else with Owasso Ram football. And again, remember, it's Friday night. Some others are moving to Thursday, but we're standing firm. As my grandpa would say, we ain't afraid of no storm, right?
No, now I might get a chance to go watch a game on Thursday night. That'd be fun.
There you go. Well, thank you for tuning in. We will see you Friday night, and you've been listening to the Ram Showcase. It's brought to you by Christian Brothers Automotive and Hideaway Pizza, a number of other fine